Welcome back to the Vandy Sports Podcast. I'm Joey Dwyer here at Memorial Gymnasium one final time this season after Vanderbilt's 67-59 loss at the hands of UAB. UAB gave Vanderbilt all it can handle tonight and gave Vanderbilt its first home loss in 8 or 9 games. Just a tough loss for Vanderbilt tonight and about ends Vanderbilt's season, ends the Memorial magic it had going towards the end of this year. And now Vanderbilt enters the most important offseason of Jerry Stackhouse's tenure, almost undoubtedly. Vanderbilt's probably 1 or 2 pieces away from a tournament berth next season. And Jerry Stackhouse seems to know that. He said tonight, we're going to be as active as anyone in the portal, and we're going to address grad transfers. We're going to look all over trying to find ways to improve this team heading into next year. He said also individual development is going to be important this offseason. It feels like Vanderbilt's probably 1 or 2 new pieces away from making a tournament run, and probably 1 or 2 guys stepping into bigger roles, whether that's Lee Dort, Malik Dia, Paul Lewis, Colin Smith next year. If any of those guys can improve and give Vanderbilt something this offseason, will certainly be a welcome addition and something that can help this team get towards the tournament. Jordan Wright will also be a huge factor. He said tonight that he hasn't made a decision on whether he'll opt to use his 5th year of eligibility yet, and I think that's a really important decision for Vanderbilt over the next few weeks to monitor. That's probably the first domino to fall. Then Vanderbilt has to adjust the portal as well. They've talked to a lot of below-the-rim physical bigs, but they've also talked to wings. They've also talked to a few standout guards. It feels like Jerry Stackhouse and staff are really looking up and down the portal this year, trying to find talent to add to this team just to give it one more piece, one more push towards the NCAA tournament. And I think that should be the goal next year. I wouldn't say it's tournament or bust in terms of whether Stackhouse keeps his job, but next year will certainly be a disappointment if Vanderbilt can't make the tournament. And I think seeing how close Vanderbilt got this year has to be disappointing, and there has to be really no other expectation in terms of what the next step is. As it looks to make the tournament, last year it felt like heading into this year, that was probably the next step for this program, was just to make the tournament after another NIT run. Now Vanderbilt is in really similar position. Obviously had another great year, much better year than last year, won games against teams that we didn't think Vanderbilt really had any chance against, was tied for 4th in the SEC, got the 6th seed in the tournament, was right there on the bubble, and just couldn't get over the hump and get there. Saw a lot of individual development this year, guys like Ezra Magnon getting more comfortable, Tyron Lawrence really developing into an alpha scorer, and Liam Robbins can't be forgotten either, a guy who was legitimately an all-SEC first-team guy, one of the better players in the league, one of the better bigs in the country. And Vanderbilt losing him and still finding a way to go on a run obviously is really special, and Vanderbilt's still finding a way to win some postseason games even without its best performance in 2 of them. Still something that it can hang its hat on, but now it's time to make the tournament, and I don't think there's really another option for Vanderbilt. It has the momentum, it had a nice season this year, it's got the recruiting. Now it's time to make the tournament, and I don't know if, like I said, if that's tournament or bust next year, but can't be considered a successful year without making the tournament no matter what really happens. Vanderbilt has to make the tournament next year, and I think everybody within the program kind of senses the same thing. This is a team that was right there on the cusp this year, had a nice NIT run, like I said, just couldn't get it done. Tonight was kind of, I don't know, I don't really know how I think of tonight as much. It kind of felt like this team was just worn down. It played so many games. It's tiring for me to cover all these games. I can't imagine playing in all of them at this point in the year. After the disappointment of not making the tournament, this team just kind of fell flat in its final game, and Memorial Magic seemed to run out tonight. Just, again, another tough loss for this team, and one that will require it to have some hunger going into next year. I think Jordan Wright especially was really disappointed by this one. Now it's time for this team to feel that. It's time for this team to embrace that feeling, and head into the offseason wanting to get better, wanting to win basketball games, and come out next year earlier than this year and make an impact. Jerry Stackhouse said he learned about scheduling a little bit recently. He's learned about the net, and they're going to take a different approach than they did this year in terms of building out that schedule. Maybe not as many good mid-majors like Southern Miss. Grambling State is one that he thought was a lot better than we as media thought Grambling State was. I think that's a good team, an old team, probably still not one Vanderbilt should have lost to, but one that really hurt him in the metrics as well. But feels like Jerry Stackhouse and staff are going to try something new in terms of scheduling. Just have to be careful not to really over-adjust. I'm really curious to see kind of what that schedule looks like. Is it all Power 5 teams? Is it all lower mid-majors? I think he's going to try to opt for maybe a less challenging schedule with more Power Fives that will help them in the metrics. That's a complete guess though, and I don't know if Jerry Stackhouse completely knows what that schedule is going to look like yet, but certainly going to be interesting to see kind of how they build that out next year. But going back to this year, it's a season with a lot of ups, some downs at the beginning of the year, but you see a lot that you like from this program, a lot that gives you evidence that Stackhouse has this thing heading in the right direction, a lot of positive momentum, and I think this team is right there, like I said, one or two pieces away from reaching its ultimate goal next year of an NCAA tournament berth. It feels like this program's as close as it's ever been under Stackhouse. It's in the best position it's ever been under Stackhouse, and now it's time in the offseason to build on that. Now it's time to prove it, and this will certainly be as big of a test probably as Stackhouse is going to face. Can he get a guy this offseason to improve his roster? Can this roster take that next step into a tournament team? It's going to start tomorrow. It's going to start next week. Jordan Wright's going to be the first domino to fall, but Vanderbilt's got to get guys in the portal, got to have individual development, and certainly going to be an important few months. But here we go. It's not about tonight. It's about the future. And again, certainly going to be an interesting few months and an important few months coming up, though. But I don't think we should forget what we experienced this season. Vanderbilt beat Tennessee, beat Kentucky twice, it beat Auburn, beat Florida twice for the first time in Stackhouse's tenure, and just found ways to win continually. When its back was against the wall, when it was at a crossroads, tonight was probably the first time all season where Vanderbilt was at a crossroads and didn't end up on the side they liked. Vanderbilt, every time it faced adversity, would end up on the right side of the crossroads. Tonight it could have been in Vegas with a win, but ends up going back to their dorm rooms and contemplating the season, contemplating their futures. Stackhouse said there'll probably be a few guys go in the portal. That's just the landscape of college basketball these days, especially when you have 14, 13 scholarship players. That's how basketball works these days. Vanderbilt's going to have to add through the portal. It's going to lose through the portal. And we'll have coverage of all of that at vandysports.com, so read our work. Keep following this channel, but I really want to thank you guys for everything this season. Just a tremendous blessing, a tremendous opportunity. And we'll certainly be back with some off-season coverage, but this was a really special year for Vanderbilt basketball. There's another step in there, though, and I think this team has the capability to do it. Maybe need one or two more pieces. Jordan Wright's decision will also be one that's really important as we look ahead to the future and next season. But a lot to like from this year. Still another step, like I said, and that will determine ultimately how successful this program is. It has respect, it has momentum, it has a nice recruiting class. Here we go for the next step, though. And thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate everything this season, and we'll be back, I think, tomorrow with a podcast with Chris. So can't get rid of me for that long. I appreciate you guys, though, and looking forward to next season and looking forward to this off season. Just going to relish in the last few moments here at Memorial Gym before heading back for the summer. Appreciate you guys. God bless. Peace.